Welcome to the Mujeres Create podcast. I'm Jessie, your host, and we're here to celebrate your limitless creative power. It's time to awaken your magic and manifest your wildest dreams. Join us for this next conversation. Hi, everyone. I'm back on Mujeres Create. And this week, I have my friend Trish Tierney. Trish is the executive director and co founder of one of my most favorite nonprofit organizations, Wake International. Wake International stands for Women Alliance for Knowledge Exchange. And it's an organization that I've been a part of since 2019. I'm here to tell you all about Wake International, and I'm so excited to have Trish with us.
Thanks, Yesenia. It's great to be here with you. And I'm so excited to just share more about Wake and what we do and the women in our community.
Throughout your career, right before Wake, you've always been involved in this type of work of advocacy, of elevating, of just like showcasing important work that needs to be done, not only here in the United States, but globally. Can you share what was that spark, that moment that led you to co-creating Wake International?
My very first job out of college was I was a volunteer teacher in Namibia in Southwest Africa. And I had lived a pretty sheltered life growing up in Connecticut. And then I went and I lived there and I saw actually a lot of sexual harassment, sexual assault at a school, a very under resourced school where I was teaching. And it really struck me how many young women in the world are not given the opportunities that they deserve, that everyone deserves. And so it really set me on a path for wanting to play some role in uplifting women and also just the power of connecting women. Like I was only 22 at the time, but I tried to understand the young women that I was working with and to support them. And they taught me a lot. And so that really just started me on a journey. And then my whole career had some focus on gender equity and women helping other women. And so it was just like layering all of those things over the years that led me to co-found Wake 10 years ago.
I recognize that sometimes for a lot of people, it's like one single moment that launches them into these ventures. But for you, it was kind of like, you know, leading you all throughout your life and your career. And as you kind of experienced, different things and obviously different work, you're able to kind of put together, what Wake has become.
To me, Wake is all about connecting women and recognizing that there's amazing women, smart women doing exactly what's needed for their communities all over the world. So I've been lucky in my career to meet so many community activists, women led organizations, women entrepreneurs, and I've just been so inspired by all of them. And I love connecting people. And I just see that women led organizations have the ability to create so much change, but so often we see different allocation of resources. And so I see myself as a connector of bringing resources and smart women together so that they can be more powerful, a force for change. And so that's what we do. We bring women from the tech industry, but as well other industries, women who have great professional skills and a passion for using them in a maybe new and more meaningful way. And then all these women-led social enterprises, nonprofit organizations, they also are doing incredible things and putting those groups together to work on social impact projects.
I found Wake in 2019. I was working at Google at the time, and I was going through a particularly difficult moment in my career. I was at a crossroads, and not knowing if I really wanted to leave Google or stay at Google. I was kind of looking for ways to stay motivated. And one of the things I found was Wake International and the Tech to Empower cohort that was going to Guatemala
Yep.
a few months later. And as soon as I saw the description, I said, this is something that I want to do. I love traveling personally, but when you're able to travel with a purpose
Yeah.
and learn and get immersed in the culture and get to work with women from those regions, from those countries, it was such a profound experience for me. And since I've been able to go on 3 different Tech to Empower cohorts, Guatemala was the first. Rwanda was the second, and the third, most recently, Cambodia.
Mhm.
So I'm so grateful for this work that you're doing. And I know that it is inspiring so many women, not only the women that you bring from the United States, but also women abroad in other countries that are obviously in need of the knowledge exchange and obviously the camaraderie and the community that we get to build.
Yeah, we've loved having you. And from the moment we met you in Guatemala, we knew it was going to be such a great fit. And I also think that I know you were born and raised in the Dominican Republic. And when we were going to Guatemala, we were really trying to create a diverse cohort. We always look for advisors with different lived experience, different career paths, and also different language skills and culture. And so having Latina advisors, for example, when we go to Guatemala is so important. And I remember how much you connected with the young students at Maya school.
Yes.
It's so important for the young girls that we're coaching and mentoring and learning alongside for them to also see role models who look like them, speak like them.
Yes.
So that was really special to have you there. And yeah, our advisor cohort, we have over 400
Wow.
women globally who have participated in our programs as advisors and a lot of repeat clients like yourself, which
Yes.
is that's really special to me because it means that people are having a good experience and feel like they're making a difference. Um, and really, it's all about the women that we work with in the countries, whether it's Guatemala or Cambodia or Rwanda, that they want this, that there's a demand for this. You know, we choose countries based on partnerships, but also where we see a need, but also a desire for us to come and be there. And they get to choose what we work on. Our whole purpose for being is to listen to our partners, to hear what they want and deliver that to them.
It was such a beautiful experience for me. And Guatemala is one of these Latin American countries that doesn't get a lot of, I
Mm,
guess, coverage,
yeah.
representation in media, tourism. You don't really hear about Guatemala. So when I first heard about this trip, I'm like, oh my God, Guatemala sounds like a great country. I never
Yeah.
thought about visiting Guatemala, but the most beautiful thing was being able to meet these women. A
Hmm.
lot of them were from indigenous communities in Guatemala.
Yeah.
The Maya Impact School, an amazing school that I still
Amazing.
stay in touch with one of the
Yeah.
girls from there. How do you take this idea that you had that kind of had been growing over the years for you in your career and turn it into an actual organization? What were some of those challenges early on that you faced? And let's not even talk about leaving the safety of
Yeah.
work, full-time work, right? To kind
Yeah.
of venture into an organization that obviously needed funding and all of the things that you needed. What were some of those early on challenges that you faced?
Yeah. Funding's, of course, the biggest one. And also, my co founder, Heather, and I, we had worked together at this larger nonprofit. So, yeah, we both had
Mhm.
secure jobs for a nonprofit world. We had decent, pretty good salaries. And so it was scary. And we also both had families, have families. And we, at the time, we had young kids. And for me, it was something, it's mundane, but also not, was insurance. It was really scary. Just like I think any entrepreneur faces that it was leaving not only salary, but insurance for my family. So that was scary. That delayed us for a
Yeah.
while until we could figure that out. I'd say one of the biggest challenges, aside from those things, was figuring out who to trust
Mhm.
because it's really vulnerable to be an entrepreneur. Also, I was becoming an entrepreneur kind of late in life. I was in my early
Mhm.
40s. And I think there's a reason why people become entrepreneurs when they're in their 20s, maybe because they more more freedom, maybe more
Yeah.
energy, but we were really dedicated to our idea, so we made it happen. But yeah, I think that building the community of support and figuring out who to trust
Mhm.
was trickier than I
Mhm.
expected. And like one early on, we had a couple of investors or donors who said, we're excited about what you're trying to start. We're gonna invest in it and support you. We had three, and one of them was a woman that we knew a little bit and had worked with a little bit, but honestly, I didn't feel good about her as a partner. But she had promised us a large donation that we really needed to get things started.
Wow.
So we said, okay, she's going to be on our board. She's going to be sort of like a founding member of this organization. And it ended up not being a good fit.
Wow.
And so before she could even give us the money, we actually, my co-founder Heather and I discussed it after some things happened that we didn't feel good about. And we told her, hey, this isn't going to work out. And so we removed her from our board and we didn't accept the donation. I don't know if she was going to ever give us the donation. And later on, we found out that she had scammed some other people, and she had a long history of
Wow.
not being a very trustworthy person. And so I really learned a lot from that, in that Heather and I decided we wanted to grow our organization by only aligning with people that we really feel we can trust, that we have the same mission, the same vision. And maybe we grow more slowly because of that. But that's really important to me, that Wake is built with people and with a community that are aligned, like you and like all of our advisors. We go through a lot to really carefully screen people. We interview everyone. I personally interview 99% of everyone who goes on the programs. And it matters a lot, because every person in the program, every person on our board, they're ambassadors for us. And this is my baby. And so that was a rough way to learn that, but it's been something that I've kept with me ever since then.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. And everything you've said, I think there's so many lessons for women entrepreneurship. We're at Tech to Empower, we literally work with women entrepreneurs, right? So understanding some of the challenges that a mom of 2 or 3 may be facing as they're kind of launching their business, their NGO, understanding what those challenges are is so important. And so getting yourself in somebody else's position is so important.
Yeah.
But also the part about the intuition that led you to understanding that this person that may have seen to have good intentions was not really aligned to your mission and to your work.
Yeah.
And I cannot imagine when you're this early in the organization turning down funding, because that's literally all you need, right? To just get started. You need that funding. So the intuition that led you to saying, no, this is not going to work. This is not really, like, feeling that. I think that's one of the topics I love covering on this podcast is, women have such distinct intuition.
Yes.
And decision making is a lot of the times rooted in that intuition. And so not ignoring that intuition is so important. And for you, it made a difference, right? In how your organization was formed.
Yeah, I agree so much. And I think what you said about women's intuition, it's so true. And I think when I was growing up, that was seen as a negative, or like, oh, women are emotional, or intuition doesn't have a place in business or in the professional world. But I think it's real, and I think it's something to be celebrated.
So important.
And every time I've ever made a mistake or had something go wrong, it's because I didn't listen to my intuition.
And, rushing to these decisions sometimes, as an entrepreneur myself now, leaving corporate after 22 years, it's not easy.
Absolutely.
But it's also beautiful to know that, so many women are finding that voice later in life and just being more assertive in what they want to do, and understanding that, the path that they want to take and where they want to go.
Yeah. And you have more experience, and more experience can make it scarier,
right?
Because you know what could go wrong, but you also have a lot more knowledge of how to run a business and what you need to do to get everything done.
So tell us about that first experience in the Ukraine, and you've continued to do the work there over the years, especially now, as they're going through very difficult times with the war. How was that first experience? What did you plan and how did it go?
Yeah. It was 2015, and Heather and I had worked in Ukraine in a previous program in our past jobs. And so we had a partner in Kyiv called the Ukrainian Women's Fund, which is a fantastic organization. It's the largest women's organization in Ukraine. And the founder of that is a woman named Natalia, and she's really inspiring. And we had kept in touch with her, and she came to visit San Francisco right as we started Wake. And we had just gotten our first tiny little office in the Presidio, and Natalia came and sat on our couch that we bought for $40 and brought to the office in our car. And she asked what we were doing, and we told her our idea for Tech to Empower. And she said, oh, well, I run a leadership training program for young women across Ukraine, but we don't have any tech elements in it. And so we had this great conversation about how any leadership program in today's world needs to have tech in it. And so we said, would you be open to us pilot testing our Tech to Empower idea? And she said, yeah, that sounds great. So she invited us and we went to Kyiv, and I think we had 5 advisors.
Wow.
And they were all friends, people we had worked with in other programs and, we just brought together about 40 women who were nonprofit leaders across Ukraine. Natalia and her team brought them there. And we brought our 5 or 6 advisors who were like, sure, we'll try this out with you. And Beth Cantor also,
Yes.
You met Beth in Cambodia.
Yeah,
Beth's an amazing author, trainer, and she had been working with us for a long time. We had become friends in our past jobs. And she came and we just tested it out, and it's changed and evolved a lot since then, but it gave us the courage, I guess, to keep going and to continue. And the best part about that program was that we met this woman, Vika, who was, she's a journalist and an NGO leader and a million other things because she does everything. But she was sitting in the front row of the workshop and was so eager, involved in every conversation. And then 3 days after our workshop ended, she went back to her city and started teaching everyone she knew the things that she had learned from our Tech to Empower program. And she kept writing us, is it okay if I use the slides? Is it okay? And we were like, yes, And so Vika showed us the power of the ripple effect and how much we could reach more and more people that way. And so we ended up hiring her as a Wake team member. She came to Cambodia, our first Cambodia trip, as a trainer. And then now she comes to our program in Lithuania every year. And so just the ability to inspire other women so that then they go out and teach and share other people is really powerful.
Now, Ukraine was your first trip.
Mhm.
What has been, and I know you're going to say all of them, but what has been the most profound experience for you over the last 10 years?
So in the last year, 2 years, we've made a change to go back to the same countries. In the first bunch of years, we were trying out different countries and we were kind of hopping around a bit. And we've changed so that now we have a cadence of about every 12 to 18 months, we go back to a country. And for me, that's the most meaningful because like in the fall, we're going back to Rwanda. It'll be our 3rd program in Rwanda. And I love that because we get to see the impact, the continuation of the relationships, the deepening of impact and relationships is really what matters the most, because we don't want our program to be a one and done thing. We're there, we're committed to these organizations, these women. And so we always talk about Blandine, who you met. Blandine is amazing. And we met her in our very first program. And then she had started, as you know, she started a company that was working on maternal and child health in Africa. And then she saw that so many young girls miss school when they have their periods, which is a problem in so many places. And so she created Cosmopad, which is a low-cost, eco-friendly solution because she has these little kits that girls can make their own reusable pads. And when we first met her, she was working in a tiny room with a few volunteers, and a team of advisors helped her with pricing and fundraising strategies. And then 3 years later, we went back and she had created 25 jobs, and she's reaching over 50,000 girls with her pads. So, and then I hope we'll see her again in October. I don't know if she'll participate in the program again, but she's
grown so much.
She's we saw her photo on the NASDAQ.
On Times Square.
In Times Square, because she gets all these awards for young entrepreneurs and change makers. So for me personally to play a small role in supporting someone like that, helping her scale or helping her connect with mentors is amazing. And now she's, I'm sure, a mentor to so many young Rwandan girls and is an amazing role model in her community. So that's what is the most meaningful to me.
When I went to Guatemala and I signed up for Rwanda, I thought there's nothing that can top Guatemala because it was so
Yeah.
special. But then I go to Rwanda and I meet Blandine, and I
Yeah.
got to work in Rwanda. I got to work with Rwanda Women's Network, which
Okay.
is this amazing organization to provide safe spaces
Yeah.
for women after the genocide that happened now. Is it 25,
30
30,
years, yeah.
almost 30 years ago?
Hmm.
And then we went to the African Leadership University and
Yeah.
got to do Day for Girls there.
Yeah.
So that experience was so special to me. And then we go to Cambodia, same thing. So I'm like, I don't have a favorite. They've all been so different
Yeah.
and so special.
Mhm.
And what you're creating again is just like that impact. And it's not only, being able to bring our knowledge to these countries, but getting to meet these women
Yeah.
that are maybe going through so much adversity,
Mhm.
and their resilience is really so inspiring. So how do you go about choosing the countries that you go to?
It's really based on partnerships.
Mhm.
So in every country, we work with a local partner because, we don't know what the cultural context is. We want to make sure everything we're doing is relevant. So we always choose a local partner. And in especially in the early years, we chose places where we had existing partnerships, people we knew and trusted. And then we also look at places, well, we like to have geographic representation. So we work in Latin America, in Asia, in Africa, and in Europe with Ukraine and Lithuania. And so that's important. And then also, of course, looking at safety. So we feel very responsible to make sure we're going somewhere that a group of volunteers can feel safe, and where our partners and our participants feel safe, connecting with outsiders, and that it's a place that values collaboration. So we look for places that have some element of tech and innovation, wrapped up. Like Kigali is a hub of innovation in East Africa. Last year we went to Medellin, which is a booming place with social innovation. So we look for that as well.
Thinking about the countries, and you all do such a great job at educating the advisors before going to those countries on not only, the context that we're going into, but the cultural, aspect, the heritage, the history. A lot of the countries that we go into have had some type of traumatic event, genocide, Cambodia, Rwanda. So it's really important for us to understand the context, some of the experiences of the people that we're working with.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. It's so important to us at Wake that we all approach it with cultural humility. And so we do talk about that a lot before going. We ask the advisors to do some readings, maybe watch some different TED Talks. And then we dedicate quite a lot of time in the pre-program webinars. And then in our first day in the country, we have orientation. And so we always work towards having everyone be aligned on cultural humility and how we're approaching it. And we understand everyone is at a different place in their knowledge, understanding, like in Cambodia, I think we had some people who had been to Cambodia before, worked there, knew extensively about the genocide and Pol Pot and Khmer Rouge. And then other people, it was completely new to them. And all of that's good. And we learn from each other. And so we just ask that people come with cultural humility at the center of everything, a curiosity, but a respect as well.
And that openness, to get there and understand that, these countries are a lot of the time still healing from these experiences. And, bringing that respect and that openness to kind of immerse yourself in the culture. And I also love the fact that while we're going there to work with entrepreneurs and NGOs and young girls, you do make space for, cultural exchange and experiencing the countries, and you do such a great job of curating those experiences, making sure that we taste the authentic food, that we go to very important places that represent the country, that we understand the culture. And I have to tell you, in Rwanda, I hadn't shared this with you before, but the last night in Rwanda, you all we celebrated with a big dinner and dancers, and there were drums there. I had such a profound connection to
Mm,
my African roots, understanding the connection that I have in all these places. It was really
yeah.
profound for me.
Thanks for sharing that about the music and the drumming and how that impacted you. I
Yes.
think it's so important if you go to a place to work that you also experience the culture because that's how we
Hmm.
understand each other as humans, right? Is
Absolutely.
a food, especially, I think, is a way. A lot of times, our icebreakers are about, share a family
Hmm.
recipe or something that you've always grown up eating or a recipe of your grandma, because that's in my experience of working all around the world is that we're more alike than we're different. And especially women, I think we all want the best for our families, for our
Hmm.
community. And that's what connects us. And so it's important. The work is more effective if we understand each other and connect as humans.
Yes, and it's so beautiful that you're building not only a community within the advisors that are going with you. A lot of the people that you go with, you've never met before.
Hmm.
You kind of start to build that
Hmm.
community, and you
Yeah.
learn from women, and you become friends.
Yeah.
I've had so many great friendships coming from these three
Hmm.
experiences, but also you're building a global community, which is so beautiful because a lot of the times, especially in the United States, we tend to get into a bubble,
Yeah.
right? Not all of us, but we're kind of like living in a bubble where we
Yeah.
don't really pay attention to a lot of the things that happen around the world. So when you
Hmm.
have an opportunity to build those global communities, it's so beautiful. It's really one of the biggest gifts for me from participating in Tech to Empower. It's just building that global community and that mentorship too.
We see so many friendships coming out of the program, which is really wonderful. And I think it's a very intense experience that everyone has together. And so people are bonded, when you travel
Hmm.
together, when you work really closely. I mean, the whole program is built on collaboration and also on listening and learning from each
Yeah.
other. And so that's really strong in connecting people. And so we see so many friendships, advisors who didn't know each other before taking vacations together now or
Yes.
planning like, ooh, which Tech to Empower program are you going to apply to for next year? Because I want to try and go to the same one.
Planning it right.
But then also, yeah, with our global partners. And so women that we work with in the countries, connecting more with each other if they didn't already know each other or across the advisors as well. So, yeah, it's really everyone becomes very intertwined.
So what are those values that you look for in advisors as you're screening? And you mentioned the screening process. I remember interviewing with you the first time,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I hope she likes me. I hope I said the right things. I hope.
Obviously, you did.
But what are those values or attributes that you look for advisors for anyone wanting to apply to Tech to Empower? And we'll talk about that. But what,
Yeah.
what are those things that you look for?
The name Tech to Empower, I think sometimes people think, oh, I have to be an engineer to go on this program. But it's really evolved so much. And
Mhm.
a lot of women who say to me sometimes, oh, I'm really interested, but I don't know what I have to offer. And my answer is always everyone has something to offer.
Absolutely.
And that's sort of a, a through line of all the work I've ever done. And also just in my personal life. Like, even if my kids see something that's wrong, I'm like, okay, how are you going to fix it? And I think that all of us have that in us. And so anyone can participate in the program. We can always find a role. We need project managers. Everyone has project manager skills, but you don't have to be an engineer or a hard techie.
Yes.
We have projects because we listen to our partners, what they want. We have such a range of projects. So we need people with marketing, with social media skills, with impact, people writing impact reports, data visualization,
Hmm.
organizational skills. So it's a huge range of professional skills that can be harnessed and help impact the organizations and the lives of the women that we work with. But the when sometimes people ask me what are the skills you're looking for most, and I say curiosity and the ability to listen, to be an active
Hmm.
listener, because sometimes people get excited and they just want to propose the solution, but you have to be curious enough to really slow down and ask the questions to your partners, to your Rwandan partners or your Guatemalan partners, but you have to slow down and listen to what they have to say so that you can then co-design the solutions together.
Absolutely. And when I applied, I worked at Google. So I thought tech company,
Yeah.
definitely in, but I'm in sales, marketing,
Yeah.
nothing to do with tech. I definitely have no tech
Yeah.
skills. But it's important to kind of clarify that
Yeah.
because a lot of women from different industries,
Right.
and I think I would love for this program to just get fully expanded into other industries too,
Yeah.
because there's so many women looking to do this work and looking to participate in this way, and it's so empowering also to kind of do this work and just get yourself out there and do different things.
Mm-hmm.
And then when it comes to NGOs and entrepreneurs globally, what are those things that you look for? The organizations that we partner with are so unique,
Mm.
and I know that you work with local partners to help you identify those organizations, but
Yeah.
what is that thing that you look for in those ventures?
It's a competitive process. So through our local partners, we send out an application and promote it. So it's a similar process to the advisor
Mhm.
application. But we look for orgs that are already established. So that's important. Women's rights is the center of everything.
Mhm.
So we look for organizations that have that focus that's broadly defined so they can be working on women's economic empowerment.
Mhm.
They can be working on supporting survivors of sexual assault, girls' education. It's a range of things. But we kind of look for organizations that are similar in size to us because we don't want to work with organizations that have a huge budget
Right.
and they could hire someone to do this work. So we're looking at groups that are doing the work, already have some impact, but have a vision for how they could improve their work, make it more sustainable, maybe scale a little bit more or work more effectively and efficiently, but they just can't access, because of budget reasons, the skills maybe that the advisors could bring. So we want small to medium, really passionate groups that are also, they have to be interested in working with strangers.
Right.
So a lot of them, I'm always so grateful that they're willing to take a leap of faith and just come in, take 3 days off of their work to do this. And some of them tell us afterwards, I didn't know what I was getting myself into, but happily they always say it was worth it. And they often talk about not just the tangible results on the project, but how important it was for them to have fresh eyes on their work. We all bring different perspectives to the work, and it's very meaningful. I know myself as the executive director of a small nonprofit that it's really amazing to have a group of talented women sit down with me and say, tell me about your work. How can I help? How can I support it? That's huge. And so we hear that all the time, that was also a really tangible result for them, in addition to the impact report or the new website that they found new allies.
To have these women have a fresh set of eyes and give you perspective just based off of what they do every single day, it's such a gift. And I can see when these women walk out of there and they're illuminated with so much insight and just like fresh ideas.
When we were in Vilnius just a couple of months ago in Lithuania, there's an org called Artscape that does work with helping kids with trauma use art to work through some issues and build resilience and healing. And we had our closing. We asked everyone to stand up and share, what were the results. And the leader of that org is this really inspiring woman. And she said, I'm this day old when I found out what it feels like to have a room full of women sit down and listen to me and care about my work. Oh. And we were all like, oh,
I'm getting chills.
Yeah. Like that's hard to quantify, but it's powerful.
Impact is not just in numbers, right?
Yeah.
It's really sentiment, the lasting knowledge that you're just imparted on these women and the people that you work with.
Mm-hmm.
Thinking about, times of change, how have you been able to sustain the organization, and how have you been able to innovate around, change, pandemic? I know a lot of the trips that you were planning for those first few years had to be postponed. You had to pivot into a virtual environment.
Yeah, COVID, like everyone, it was really hard on us. And we shut down for a little while to just kind of figure out, like, what are we going to do? We laid everyone off, including myself and Heather. We just would meet for walks and talk about, like, what are we going to do? Yeah. And then we did have a little funding left in the bank. So after a few months of reflecting, we said, let's try to do this again in a different way. And so we brought Emily and Christina back. That was our team before COVID. And we just went virtual. And so that was hard at first, but we thought no one's going to, we do charge a donation to participate in our programs. It's how we cover our costs. It's how we deliver everything for free to our partners and our participants. But we thought no one's going to donate money to us to volunteer on Zoom. But we got such a huge response. It was amazing. That first virtual program completely blew us away. And it was everyone stuck at home wanted to do something positive and to do something outside of their own tiny world, right? So that was really amazing. So for then a couple years, we did continue on doing virtual programs. And that also helped us to grow our network quite a lot, because previously when we did US programs, we were only in the Bay Area, but suddenly we were open to everybody. So we got to expand our network of advisors all across the country. And then also we got to work with all these amazing nonprofits all across the country. So that's how we sustained ourselves through COVID. And then the growth has also just been through having an amazing team. So, Heather and I started Wake together. We couldn't have done it without each other. And it was so powerful to have a partner. I think being a solo entrepreneur is way scarier than being a co-entrepreneur. So that really helped us get through some tough times. And then also just throughout the years, been so lucky with an amazing team. It's finding, like what we were talking about early in the conversation about finding people who are aligned and passionate and willing to do the work together in a very collaborative way. And also, I think we have our core program, and what it is, stays relatively the same, but we're also responsive to what's happening in the world. And so, for example, when the Dobbs decision came in 2022 and Roe v. Wade was overturned, that was a moment that was just soul-crushing for so many people in this country. And everyone I knew, all of my friends and colleagues were like, oh my God, what can we do? Everyone wants to do something, right? And I thought, okay, well, hey, we have a nonprofit that provides opportunities for activism. Let's do this. And so we created a Tech to Empower for Reproductive Justice. And we went to New Orleans and we brought a group of nonprofits from across the South who are working on the front lines of those issues to provide them support on projects that were helping them in this really essential and critical work. And so it's great to have the ability to have our core program stay true to what we do, but adapt it as needed according to things that are happening in the world.
Celebrating 10 years this year. I would love to hear all the updates that are happening, the next trips that are coming up. Yeah. Tell us everything.
It's been really amazing to celebrate 10 years. We have an amazing advisory board, and we're all focused right now on celebrating 10 years. So we have such a great group of women on the board, and everyone's working on different projects, and we're all working towards November 7th, which is we're having an event. So we've never had sort of a gala or a celebration event at Wake. And so we finally decided, okay, 10 years, we have to do this. And so we're having it at the top of the Salesforce Tower in San Francisco. So you have a 360 view of our beautiful city, and we're going to have music and dancing and food and hopefully just a lot of joy, bringing the community together to celebrate. And we're also this year, we're going back to all of our early days programs. So like we just did Lithuania for Ukraine, and then we did Cambodia where you were with us, which was an early day program, and then Rwanda. So that's been great. And we're just really excited to be getting out there and sharing more about our community and trying to continue to grow the program. And we just this week opened up our application to the 2026 programs. And so we have, we'll be going back to Guatemala in February of 2026, and then going back to Nepal in May of 2026. And then we'll have one more in the fall, which we haven't announced yet.
Yes. Companies that want to partner with Wake International, what is the process like?
Yeah, we have a great group of companies already, but we're always looking for more. And the first step and the easiest thing is just to promote the program at companies. And so we're always looking to meet with social impact teams or ERGs, women's groups at the companies who are interested in providing volunteer opportunities for their staff. And so we often do info sessions to get the word out, or we just look for contacts who are passionate about this and they'll send messages around for us. But like we're here in New York this week meeting with different companies to try to spread the word and meet new folks to do that. But then we also look for corporate sponsors. Some companies, like you came from Google, Google has amazing matching. And that helps a lot because the advisors can donate half the fee and then Google matches it. At companies where they don't have matching, we are looking for, potential to help sponsor women, make it more accessible.
And for companies, for example, what I mentioned before, that I was really looking for those things to keep me motivated in my role. It's so important to provide those type of perks to employees and allowing people to go and explore their passion, work that is purposeful to them. So highly encourage companies to look at this as an opportunity to boost employee engagement, right?
Absolutely.
So one way is companies helping you promote the programs. And then another way is companies sponsoring and being able to match for their employees to go at half the cost, essentially.
Yeah. And also to provide volunteer time off or, just whatever the companies can do to make it more less disruptive for the employee to leave to go do this program for a week. So, giving volunteer time off, like Salesforce gives 6 days of volunteer time. So women from Salesforce can come on the program and charge their time to that rather than taking PTO. And that can be a game changer.
For women who want to go on the next Tech to Empower, what is the process like? Where do they go and sign up?
They go to our website, which is wakeinternational.org. And on there, you can sign up for our newsletter, which is the best way to get news updates about new programs and opportunities. But also right on there is there's a section to read about it becoming a volunteer, and then the application is on there.
Ladies, let's go and sign up, mujeres. Let's give Wake International some love and obviously participation. Trish, as we near the end of the podcast episode, what are some words of encouragement that you have for women who are looking to kind of do this type of purposeful work and they don't know where to start?
I think that if you really want to do meaningful work and you're not sure where to start, just talk to people who are doing work that you admire. So there's so many organizations out there. We don't all necessarily have to start our own organization. Doing things together, learning from each other is a great place to start. So if you see something that you want to get involved in or you admire, go talk to that person. Everyone loves to be asked more, what do you do? Tell me about your work. How can I get involved? So just offer yourself up and ask those questions. And also just surround yourself by people you feel aligned with and that you think would be supportive to you as you take this step. And be brave, because like Yesenia is being brave taking this step. I was brave 10 years ago by doing this. And you can really lead you to new perspectives and learning new things and hopefully making a difference in the world.
Reflecting on the 10 years that you've been doing this work, what is the biggest gift for you to kind of take that bold step and decide, I'm going to do this? This is my life's purpose. What has been that gift for you over the last 10 years?
I think for me it's been that I take so much energy from being around other women who are brave and excited about what they're doing, and that everyone can do that. Everyone can take a step, and it may be, a lot of women who leave or who go on our programs say that they want to go leave Google or leave corporate, go into a different field entirely. And you can do a lot even within your corporate job. Right. You can do Tech to Empower. You can do other things. So you don't always necessarily have to change your entire life. You can do so much by taking small steps every day to make a difference.
So it's not always drop everything and just pivot here.
Yes.
It's understanding what do you need to kind of fulfill that call that you have to do this work, to serve others, right? To help the world in some way. It's just small steps every day, right? Yeah. It doesn't have to be an overwhelming big decision. It can always be small steps.
Absolutely.
Well, Trish, thank you so much for being on my podcast. Here on this podcast, we celebrate women like you who are creators. You've created this amazing organization, co-founded this amazing organization with Heather, who's not here today, but
Yeah,
I know Heather, and she's been such a big part of Wake
absolutely.
International. But I celebrate your boldness, your resilience, in wanting to help women globally, in wanting to connect women globally, in wanting to share the innate gift that women have to create for themselves, right? To create for the world, to help others. And you embody everything that this podcast represents. I'm really grateful that you're here today. And thank you so much. And I'm looking forward to the next Tech to Empower.
I'm excited as well. And I just want to say that you're a gift, meeting women like you on our programs, and then the relationships, the friendships that we form, and then the opportunities to collaborate on things like this is such a joy. And I'm also so proud of you and excited for you as you take this big
Thank
step. So
you.
congratulations
Thank
on the new
you.
podcast.
Thank you so much. Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening to the Mujeres Create podcast. I hope you enjoyed the episode, and don't forget to share the wisdom with other mujeres.